Hey guys, Cinema Cascade is here again with the top 10 movies on Amazon you simply have to watch in 2024. I'm talking classics that are slept on, new releases you probably haven't heard of, and some pretty great films with star-studded casts and captivating plots from some of your favorite actors and filmmakers. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let me introduce you to Polite Society, the movie that you'll get when you cross sisters, with kung fu and a little bit of money heist. Follow the story of young Rhea Khan and her sister Lena Rhea. With the help of her sister, is working hard to be a professional stunt person, and she's gathering all the skills she needs to do so. But the problem exudes when Lena gets engaged and is set to get married to a questionable individual from a questionable family. And after a thorough and rather comedic investigation, Rhea finds out that the family is up to no good and they have just the worst plans for her sister. So Rhea and some of her friends have to save Lena in some rather hilarious but entertaining fight scenes and heist planning. I honestly love Polite Society because it's everything a strong female-led movie should be, with a badass and quirky female lead who is not afraid to show emotion and depth, which just adds to the allure. Next up, roleplay. When I first saw this movie lineup, I thought, wow, Kaylee Cuoco and David Oyelowo are in the same movie. This should be interesting. And I was right. So Dave and Emma, played by David and Kaylee, are married, and they have two beautiful kids, but they're having marital problems. Turns out Kaylee is always away on business trips, and it's putting a real damper on things. So they have a bright idea. They're going to roleplay as strangers meeting in public for the first time in hopes to spice up their marriage and stuff. But something goes terribly wrong. Turns out Emma is an international assassin, and that's why she's always going on trips. This truth gets revealed in a contentious manner, and now both their lives and the lives of their children are in danger. So Emma and Dave have to figure out how to solve this issue with a lot of guns, a lot of punches, and a lot of gore. I love it. Honestly, this whole movie reminds me of that one episode of Modern Family where Phil and Claire try out role-playing, but it goes wrong. So it was definitely a fun time watching this one. Next, let's talk about Ricky Stanicky. You've seen John Cena kick ass in the WWE. You've seen him act as a super spy in the Fast and Furious franchise. Heck, you've even seen him dabble in the superhero genre while delivering some sick piano chops. But I guess he's finally out of ideas, so John Cena decides to dress like a girl. Yeah, I was confused at first when I saw it, but I decided to give it a go, and boy was I in for a treat. The story follows three childhood friends who get into a lot of trouble for their childhood misdeeds. In a bid to get out of trouble, they create an alibi, stating that someone named Ricky Stanicky is behind the outrageous things they do. Fast forward to their adult years, and they're still using Ricky Stanicky as an excuse to get away with a lot of juvenile behaviors. So when their spouses and families start to catch up to their deceit, they're forced to hire an actor to embody the character of Ricky Stanicky, but this ends up causing more trouble than solving them. The movie is extremely funny and has a lot of crazy moments. It also features the likes of Zac Efron, Jermaine Fowler, and Andrew Santino. Also, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and that notification button, so you get notified every time we put out more videos about your favorite streaming platform. Moving on to the more sci-fi themed section of the list, we have Totally Killer. Jamie is a young lady living in 2023 whose mom gets unalived by a psychotic killer who murdered 3 young women 35 years ago. In a confrontation with the killer, Jamie accidentally time travels to 35 years prior, to the time before the killer claims his first victims. There, she meets a younger version of her mom and an unfamiliar culture, and she and her mom have to work together to stop the killer in the past, which led to a climax I definitely wasn't expecting. Now, I'm usually not a fan of teen dramas, but I actually had a nice time with this one. The movie really gave me that Happy Death Day vibe, so I was all for it. Next up, Guy Ritchie finally returns to the world of epic war-centered movies, and The Covenant was a good return to the fold. The movie is set in the Afghan War, where Sergeant John Kinley, who is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, gets a new interpreter after his old one was executed during an ambush by the Taliban. Kinley's new interpreter is of questionable character, but earns Kinley's respect after saving his life yet again from the Taliban. Still, Kinley finds himself relying on his interpreter when an unforeseen tragedy occurs, with the aftermath testing the limit of these young men. The movie also stars Johnny Lee Miller, Alexander Ludwig, and Anthony Starr, and honestly, it was kind of fun seeing Anthony play a character that wasn't Homelander. Alright, let's talk about A Good Person. I like this movie because it's one of the few pieces of content out there that actually has a wholesome message with a meaningful plot and theme. It follows the story of Allison, a girl whose seemingly perfect life gets turned upside down after she's the recipient of an unexpected tragedy. Everything she's worked hard for crumbles before her eyes, and she's left to pick up the pieces. She then befriends her soon-to-be father-in-law, who is played by Morgan Freeman, and through his guidance, she tries to put her life back together. I think the sheer relatability of The Good Person is one of his greatest selling points of the movie, and the way the movie ties the plot up in a nice wholesome knot at the end was very fun to see. Now I'll be honest guys, when I think about Roadhouse, I don't think about the 1989 version with Patrick Swayze. Nah, I think about those crazy episodes from Family Guy. Yeah, that's Roadhouse for me. But if you love the 1989 version version with Patrick Swayze, then you should probably know that Amazon has a remake starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's pretty much the same story. A badass dude with crazy martial arts skills works as a bouncer in a bar and kicks the living the daylight of any troublemaker, which puts him on the naughty list of many gangs, and he makes a lot of enemies in the area. So the dude has to kick the living crap out of a lot of guys to protect the bar, as well as, stay alive. So if you love Jake Gyllenhaal as well as Conor McGregor, and you want to see them really kick some booty and just exude unbridled levels of violence, then you're going to love the Roadhouse remake. Next on the list is Asteroid City. I'm one of those guys who holds out patiently for a Wes Anderson movie. They don't happen often, but when they do, it's always fun to watch. And that's what Asteroid City is, a fun watch, albeit a very confusing one. So the movie is basically about a documentary about a playset in a fictional town known as Asteroid City, where a dad and his kids go for a science convention amidst the loss of the wife-mother of the family. They start to have a great time at the convention, only to suddenly have their mind blown and their world turned upside down when an alien appears out of nowhere. There are a lot of layers to the movie, which is to be expected from a Wes Anderson movie. The directing format and overarching aesthetic are on par with the director's format, but at the heart of it all, the movie is about love and grief and overcoming loss. The movie is also star-studded, with actors like Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, Jason Schwartzman, Adrian Brody, Edward Norton, and so many more making appearances. Next up, Saltburn. I genuinely think this is one of the best movies to ever hit Amazon in a very long time. The movie centers on Felix Catton, a wealthy individual who has an estate called Saltburn. He takes pity on his seemingly impoverished friend Oliver and invites him to his estate to stay. But little does he know what Oliver has in plan for him, his family, and his estate. The movie is filled with themes of betrayal, deception, and some pretty graphic scenes. For real, guys, Saltburn is no joke, so tread carefully when watching this one. Barry Keoghan's performance in the movie is inspired, and it earned him a BAFTA award as well as a Golden Globe nomination. Lastly, we have what is probably my favorite movie so far, The Underdoggs. When a former NFL superstar chooses to coach a football team to avoid jail time, he gets way more than he bargained for, as he is forced to train a bunch of dysfunctional teenagers, one of whom is the son of a former fling. The movie is packed with a lot of funny moments and a wholesome message, with Snoop Dogg playing the role of Coach Jason, which I absolutely loved. So guys, that's it for the best movies to watch on Amazon in 2024. I hope you had a great time. Be sure to check our other videos on Amazon Prime and any of your favorite streaming platforms. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go find more Wes Anderson movies. Thanks for watching Cinema Cascade.